Let's see. What do the comments say? We would like to thank all the Black Dungeon investors for their financial support. Hey, you're welcome, jackass. Which one should I watch? Because it looks like there's a couple new ones. I played Crimson Desert again. There's no way they're giving like playtests to content creators and not offering it to like BDO partners. That's fucked up.
In this Fextralife video, I'm going to be talking about my
not me, but like Choice at least, Sunny.
Desert. I got to play at Gamescom about 2 weeks ago again. If you haven't heard, this game was actually delayed from releasing later this year until releasing in Q1 of next year. We don't have an exact release date yet, but it's not going to be too much further until
that's going to come out before
releases.
I even get
so
geared.
Talk a bit about what I learned about the game.
No, it's a single player game. They can't replace BDO.
We got to see a bit different of a slice than we got to see.
Honestly, at this point, since it sounds like they're dumping all their fucking funds in developing into shit like Crimson Desert, hopefully when they finally release this stupid ass game, they focus on BDO again. That would be something great.
Before. My main
similar to Star Citizen, who is taking their funds from Star Citizen and dumping it up to their single-player game. I can envision them, eventually, once they release a single-player game, going back to full focus on Star Citizen, which would be great, because I tried Star Citizen recently for the first time, and I gotta say that I see the vision. That's an amazing game with, like... It's buggy as hell, because it's still, like, they're trying to bite off so much. They're trying to do so much in that game, but it's impressive, man. I see the vision.
Playing Crimson Desert before what I played just a couple weeks ago was mostly boss encounters, and the different mechanics and types of bosses that you would fight in the game, which were all drastically different. But in this gameplay session, I was actually getting to play like a quest of the game, one of the, objectives, if you will, and get a bit better of a slice of how the gameplay loop of Crimson Desert will work. We're sieging a castle, and there's troops everywhere, and it's massive battle royale, basically. It's not a battle royale PvP-wise, but you got what I mean. There's enemies everywhere, there's allies everywhere. It's a huge scale siege. And I don't think most of the battles you're going to have in this game are going to be that way. I'm sure there will be others as well. The first thing I noticed in this gameplay session was how absolutely massive
the graphics are amazing.
There was a part of the demo where we like jumped into the map and you're sort of like skydiving and you have like a suit that allows you to like glide around. And if I remember correctly, they told me basically everything that you can see you can go to in the game. And when you look around the map, it's beautiful. It's staggering the size of this game. So there isn't going to be a shortage of things to do. It is a lot of map.
It sounds like it's going to perform badly, and considering that every game that comes out nowadays performs badly engine-wise, I'm assuming this will be just as bad. Like apparently Borderlands 4, people are struggling to even open the game on their PCs. He's RPing as a GM, yeah.
You're going to see a portion of the game where I'm like talking to an NPC, and I'm basically getting my mission objectives.
Can we get a shield like that in BDO already, by the way? They've been putting fucking designs into this game, but can we get them in BDO?
Rescue an ally that's under attack who's trying to defend it. We take out some towers with a cannon, which is pretty cool. I'm sure there are going to be other unique mechanics like this in the game.
You did an RKO?
Them you'd be there all day. So it was at the beginning, I was kind of just trying to get my feet wet to combat again, reacclimate myself. It'd been almost a year since I played last, and kind of get some combat under my belt before going in. And one thing that's really cool is, like, you'll notice I do this, like, rain of arrows attack that basically calls down mortar strikes, which is
what I'm worried about is the gameplay looks fun, but when it comes to a single-player game, gameplay only carries you so far. You need... My biggest thing is having characters, and with BDO as any example, I'm not expecting characters to be that interesting. And I need interesting characters in a single-player game. And I mean, I don't even think we've seen anything about that type of shit yet.
By setting up banners and things, it looks like you can coordinate super abilities that absolutely.
And then if it starts to get boring after a while, just doing the same shit. If there's not interesting characters carrying the story, if it's just soldiers, we got to do this next, and you just go in and do that, and all that's carrying it is the combat.
In my gameplay,
I would lose interest immediately.
To be more abilities like this throughout the game, where you can meet certain requirements and certain objectives or certain missions that then allow you to. Do certain things that you wouldn't normally be able to do. I don't know if, like, outside this area of the game, I would continue to be able to do that. I don't think so. I think it's unique to this mission. There's the mount bit. I think you probably have other ways you can traverse the map as well, just given the natural size of it. It would be quite shocking. If there's the skydiving bit.
Yeah, you're seeing NPCs just spawn in front of him as he's walking.
Diving bit. There's the mount bit. I think you probably have other ways you can traverse the map as well, just given the natural size of it. It would be quite shocking if that wasn't the case.
I mean, that
So one of the things that you really
we're
get to
aware.
experience
The horse
on
animation looked terrible. I didn't want to come off as a hater, bro. I was gonna say this looks so like, especially when he was first on it and he's like
outside of
riding
this
through the
area of the game,
battlefield
you'll
as
continue to be
like
able to do that. I don't think
fucking
so. I think it's
1
unique
mile
to
per
this mission.
hour.
So I think you'll
Yeah,
see
you can essentially run faster on
like
foot
that
through
from other
the
missions
battle.
in the game. You can just summon your heading in this mission.
Yeah, as he headed down, like
Well. And I do a little bit of
I was like, all right, this looks a little lackluster, man. I don't want to hate on it,
You can just summon your
but
you can even sit down on your mount.
he sped up a bit. He's taking it for a trot. He's trotting.
Transportation besides mounts.
He can sprint, I think.
Obviously, there's the skydiving bit.
But he's choosing to take his time. Yeah, there you go. Speed it up a little bit, a little better. Still looks pretty bad for some reason, the horse animation.
It would be quite shocking.
Like, just the animation in general, despite the speed.
So, one of the things that you really get to experience
Work in progress.
Massive battle is really fighting many, many enemies at the same time.
Yeah.
This is not something that's uncommon.
But the thing is, in a game, you don't want to make everything super realistic. It's a game. It's fantasy. I think we want to see exaggerated stuff, just like in movies and TV. That's why it's called drama. You know, like it's acting. They're not just acting realistic. It's overact. That's what you're supposed to do. Just like in games. I want to see. I don't know. Realistic is cool, but emphasize realism is cooler.
Enemies at once. The game seems
more
to handle
entertaining.
this very well. It does take a little practice, in my opinion, to get used to, like moving around and fighting certain enemies. But
this is going to be a game specifically for real graphics enjoyers. Like the lighting, look how the area lights up.
It does take a little practice, in my opinion, to get used to, like moving around and fighting certain enemies.
Dude, you're playing this on a big monitor with some good graphics that somehow can play at a good 100 FPS or something. Lights off in your room at night, fucking sounds turned super high. These fights could be really cool.
Job of kind of like anticipating, if you will, what you're trying to do, so the game kind of like helps you out and moves you in the right direction a little bit.
Although I'm not hearing enough sounds from the battle.
Kind of dictating what the camera is doing based on what the logical.
You ever play Chivalry? You know, like all the units and people are screaming, yelling. Like, have you ever played Chivalry 2, dude? I think it's Chivalry. You feel like you're in a battle, and it's not just because of the battle happening, and the graphics are good in that game too, but it's the sound. You know, it sounds like you're in a battle, similar to Battlefield. That's why those games, are fun. Chivalry, like you just hear these guys, you hear the clink clang of the metal, you hear the guys shouting and screaming. These guys just yell when they get hit.
It doesn't always get it right, but it does more often than it's not. So things typically feel pretty good when you're fighting multiple enemies.
You got one noise that whole time.
This fight,
I mean, it's hard to hear because the guy's yelling. You might not hear.
And
I don't want to make it too loud on you guys.
Gimmick mechanic. If you'll see in my gameplay, he's not taking very much damage, and I'm trying to figure out like why. I'm not doing very much damage. And there's a bit of a gimmick mechanic where you can like lift up a column. This is kind of mechanic that the mission was teaching you throughout of it, where you lift up this column and
boss fight
looks
cool.
Smash him after you stagger him because he has like a stance.
Although hearing that they're super tanky, that's always a little boring for boss fights, but sounding like there's a mechanic that could help you.
Or a stagger meter, and once you fill
and
it,
that's what it is.
That's kind of
cool.
Stunned for what you will for 5 seconds or something like that. Give you enough time to like smash him with his pillar for massive damage. Fortunately, I didn't quite figure that out until way further into this fight because I'm just stubborn and usually just try and fight my way.
So you're doing it the wrong way. Maybe that's why it took so long.
Way through them.
Dude, they got the little BDO icon.
There are boss fights in this game, as we saw in the previous demo, that have gimmick mechanics where like you can't just straight up fight them. You have to do certain things to deal damage to them. I don't know how many bosses are in this game, but I've seen probably half a dozen or so bosses already. So I'm expecting the boss fights of this game to be a huge staple of what's going on. Like that's going to be some of the most memorable things that you do in this game. So I can't wait to see how many of those are. I don't expect all of them to be gimmicks, but I imagine maybe a quarter of them will be based on what I've seen so far, which is a good number. Hopefully those mechanics are not too tedious and that they're also really fun. From what I've seen so far, Crimson Desert's graphics are not the greatest graphics. They're certainly good. Don't get me wrong. They're very good. But out of all the games I saw at Gamescom, it was definitely not like the best. It was definitely in the top half for sure. And you can tell from the art direction of the game that this is being developed by an Eastern studio, that it has a bit of a Eastern studio trying to do a Western vibe to it. It's a little bit in there. If you've ever played any like Eastern Asian MMOs, you can kind of see a similar, graphic style to it as they try and take on a Western approach. So it has a little bit of that. I don't mind that. I live in Asia, so I love that. And, I love Western RPGs as well. So a little bit of a blend there is kind of the art direction of the game. But the graphics are not
That's actually
as
really well said by him.
other games. I think probably one of the reasons for that is that this is a massive, massive game in terms of land area. And I think you know, anytime you get an open world,
That was a great way to
game
describe it.
that's that size,
For
you
those
kind of
familiar.
have to sacrifice a little bit of graphics, or you have performance problems. I didn't see any performance issues while I was playing, so that's really good news.
Said I didn't see any performance issues while playing.
Obviously, we were probably playing on a very, very beastly
They must have brought in. They rented that PC from NASA for that fucking.
PC,
For
but
that
at least I
demo,
didn't
man.
see any. Anytime you see some in a presentation or a demo, that's worrisome, right? Like if they can't even get rid of them for the demo, that makes you worry. Saw that with Avowed, saw that with a few other games. There was no performance issues in what I played so far.
That's
So I
where
think
you.
the
That's where your
performance
pearls
on
went
this
into
game is
that
pretty good.
PC
I think
specifically.
they probably sacrificed a little bit of visual fidelity in order to make that happen. The combat of this game is really where it's at. I think anyone who's seen the gameplay of this, the combat is the highlight of this game, and the amount of things you can do in combat of this game is staggering. I don't think I've actually played a game or an action game or action role-playing game recently that has this amount of customization in terms of the moves that you can do in combat. There are just so many different attacks and defensive maneuvers that you can do in combat. It's almost overwhelming. It reminds me of like trying to learn like Mortal Kombat or something when I was a kid. That's kind of the same space. Like when you're, you know, 10, 11 years
That's
old
pretty
and
cool.
trying to learn Mortal Kombat, it's overwhelming. Right? That's kind of how I feel when I'm playing Crimson Desert. I'm not 10 or 11 years old anymore, but there's just so
Although
many
it seems
moves.
like a lot of it was just slapping NPCs that
so hard to
are
memorize
just
all of
cannon
them.
fodder for you.
And I think what that's done with this game is it's created a higher skill floor, but a much higher skill ceiling for this game. So I think the players who are really, really good at this game and master the combat, you're going to see them do some insane things in this game. But I think your average player is going to struggle a little bit.
They got this is where they took the Warrior devs, the guys who made Awaken Warrior. They threw them over to Crimson Desert. The people that made all the
to get
coolness
the
of
rhythm
BDO.
controls. And it's really hard to get a good sense of it too, because when you're thrust into these demo situations,
Because I almost feel like saying, as I'm hearing him say all that, I'm like, what happens to BDO? He's saying how, you know, the skill ceiling and you could do such cool stuff, so many different abilities to utilize. That what happened to BDO? It's just out the window now?
you have a very limited time to play. They kind of give you all these different moves you can do at once, and you don't.
How did
have
BDO
time to
go
ease into it
backwards,
how you would
man?
normally in the game, so I don't think it's going to be as hard to ease into it in the actual game as it is in the demo. But you can see me struggling a bit with the controls, trying to do certain attacks, and I'm doing the wrong attacks simply because I didn't have enough time to memorize them, and they were all thrown at me at once, and that was very, very difficult to do. But I do think, in general, Crimson Desert is going to have a higher skill floor, which may be frustrating to some people. And there are a couple things that about the controls that concern me as well. Like, for instance, lock-on is L1, L1, like double tapping L1 is lock-on, but also L1 is block and L1 is parry. So sometimes if you're coming from like a Souls background like me, if you miss time a parry too early and then you tap parry again, you actually de-lock from the enemy that you're fighting, which can be frustrating. And there are just kind of a couple control things.
I
like
don't think
that
I've
that
really
can make
seen
controls
him
feel
have
clunky
like
just because
abuse
there
an
are so
iframe
many.
roll.
And I think
So if that's not a thing, that's a good sign. Because that's always been my new quarrel
take
with
a little
single
bit
player
longer
games.
to get used
That,
to the controls
like,
of this game. I do think though that once you get used to the
if it's not as
controls and once you
abusable.
have more time with it, although Crimson Desert is another one of those games that like just absolutely slapped at Gamescom. There's so many good games this year. I honestly think I played 9 or 10 absolutely fantastic games. I'm trying to make videos through them one by one. We're obviously right in the middle of the Silksong launch now, so we're going to be covering that as well. But in general, Crimson Desert is a game I'm very, very excited about, and I can't wait to see more of the open world aspects and like how that actually works. We only got a small slice.
What
here.
happens
It's a
when that
very
runs
unique
out?
quest,
Does he land?
So I want to find out more about that. What do you guys make of Crimson Desert so far? Have you seen the new gameplay? Are you getting a better understanding of the game? Do you still have questions
That's
or
cool.
concerns
I mean,
about it? Let me know in the comments below.
I like looking at the game though, because at least it's like something different, man. I'm so tired of seeing the same games on repeat over and over and over and over and over and over. So, I mean, that's still watching that was cool. I know you said there was a gameplay video, but I guess I'd rather just watch that and call it there. Yeah, this I watched already, I think. Actually, no, maybe not. But I'm assuming we saw more from that. Actually, how long is this? It's 1 minute. All right, I'll watch this, I
The
guess.
continent of Pywell. A land soaked in blood by the battles of those who seek peace and those who seek
See the focal point better.
Here begins the saga of the Greymanes.
Oh, okay, that guy didn't look like a warrior.
There are
Looked like you could play
people
a different
who
role.
brought chaos to Providence. The rifts they have created will return everything to nothingness. We seek to correct this.
I have my own mission. Seeking out my Greymane comrades.
Awkward audio
What
levels.
I can tell you now is that this mission will restore the disrupted providence.
Right there, there's your circle. Halo. Yeah, bro, this is where all their money's been going. Absolutely. 100%, this is where all your pearls have been going. You think they're coming back to BDO? No, they're going right to this. Absolutely, they've been going to this.
For those who have survived.
Even the dragon we got in BDO, that just fell out of this game's development. They were just like, yeah, good design. Let's throw that into BDO. Give the kids something to play with while we take their money.
For those who will live on. This is our mission.
But you see, it didn't introduce one character. That's what I'm worried about. You know, I want to at least see like one guy saying something silly, you know, something funny. I want to be like, oh, I want to learn more about that guy. I like that. You need those characters in these games. Hopefully they did that. Let's see. What do the comments say? We would like to thank all the Black Dungeon investors for their financial support. Hey, you're welcome, jackass. God damn it. That ain't the truth. This is all, like I said, this is definitely, we all have the same idea. This is where the money's been going. After looking at this trailer and seeing all the different abilities, as I'm like, dude, why is Wukong just Scholar reskinned? Now I see why. The fucking, so many different abilities in this game. Probably more variety in this amongst the fucking 30 classes in BDO. The whales should get endgame credits, dude. They really should. Single player, yeah. It looks good. I mean, I think it looks good. I'd expect it to be like an 8 out of 10, you know? And I mean, sky's the limit. Again, dude, I'm so desperate for a company not to just reskin another game and re-release it.